Spencer with Talent Equipment. Today I'm working on a DML 100. This got dropped off today by a customer that says there's hydraulic fluid coming out from the housing right here. Inside the housing is where the motor and the diverter valves are. So we're going to start by pulling the motor up and out of it and inspecting that. Something that's really nice about these heads is you can see that we have an access panel on the right side, the top, and the left. It makes it really easy to get our hands in here and unhook any hoses we need to or electrical. And then I can put the crane on the motor and pull it right out through the top once it's loose. Alright, so the motor's out. I'm going to show you guys where it came from. So right here is the boss that the motor bolts into. Down here is the coupler. So your motor sits here, drives the coupler, which goes out here to your belt housing. This part is also how you tension your belt if you ever need to. You loosen these two bolts on the side, and then with this cap screw you can jack this up to tighten your belts, or if you need to change your belts, undo the screw so this housing drops down. Here is your feed line, here's your return line, and then over here was the K-string that went to the top of the motor. So once we get these 4 bolts undone, the motor can slide out here because there's plenty of room, and then with the crane we lift it up and it's sitting on the workbench over there. So now we're going to dive into that motor to try to find where the hydraulic leak is. Alright, so we're looking at the bottom side of the motor here. So that would have been facing down at that white oil cloth. And you can see that it has a crack right there. And that's easily going to let all that hydraulic fluid weep right out of it. So we already got a new motor on its way. It'll be here in 3 days. But we're going to talk with FAE's service team here and find out whether this is caused by pressure or temperature. Try to get a better understanding of what may have led to that failure. We're going to take advantage of this motor being in pieces to show you what makes these cool and how they work. So if we start at the head unit here, you see that we have our pressure in, our plus side, and then we have our return out, our negative side. So our hydraulic flow from the excavator is going in here. It's coming to this side where there's this block. Coming out of these passages, it's going into the motor, and then as this spins around, the exit flow comes out through here and back to the tank of the excavator. So let's talk about what's spinning this a little bit more in depth. So pressure in through the bottom comes to this block here. The block is in here, and as hydraulic fluid fills these voids, it rotates it, and that is what's making the mulcher turn. Where these are a little bit fancier than your average hydraulic motor is in the fact that we have this plate right here that changes pitch. That's what's making this have variable displacement, because as this is rotating, what we're doing is we are changing the pitch of our block in here with our little plungers. And as we change the amount of volume or displacement here that needs to be filled with the hydraulic fluid, that's going to adjust how fast this spins or how much power it has when it's spinning. So as we adjust the pitch is how we adjust the performance of the motor. Alright, so we now have the new motor inserted into the DML 100, and after talking a little bit more with FAE on the old motor, we came back and we looked at the front seal here on the output shaft. And the reason we went there is if these motors build up too much pressure, they'll push and fail that seal. In this motor, we could stand it upright and have oil in it, and oil didn't leak out this output shaft. So that tells us that the fracture most likely wasn't due to high pressure. So what's another cause? Well, where I've highlighted in yellow is one of the casting lines from when this Rexroth motor was produced. And it comes from the bottom up through, almost like there's two halves here. And where this line is linear along that casting mark, chances are it was just casted wrong and failed. And so this is gonna fall under warranty. And we're gonna take the mulcher over to the other shop, put it on one of our 80s, get it flow tested, make sure it's got the right RPMs and performance, and then send it back out. If this video has generated questions about Townline Equipment or FAE's line of forestry mulchers, reach out to any of our locations in New Hampshire, Vermont, or New York. For more videos with these mulchers in action, visit our website, townlineequipment.com.